Today I'm combining two things which go great together to make a really tasty lunch, because today we're going to be making steak and shroom ribeye sandwich. Yes, a steak and shroom ribeye sandwich. We're going to be using this half-pound boneless ribeye, perfect size for 1 or 2 sandwiches, one if you're really hungry. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to season this up because it's going to sit in this seasoning overnight in the refrigerator. And the seasoning I'm going to be using today is a Malabar steak rub from Stephen Reikland's Project Smoke. This is a great tasting rub. I've used it a couple times before, and we're just going to give this ribeye a good coating of it. Great herbs and spices in this rub. I'm going to give a very, very good coating of it. That looks good to me. Now this is going to go in the refrigerator, like I said, overnight to kind of absorb a lot of these flavors. And tomorrow we're going to be searing this up in cast iron out on the Weber kettle. All right, the Weber kettle's up to temp. We're gonna go ahead and take our lid off, heat up that cast iron pan so we can saute up our mushrooms and sear our ribeye. I have the vortex about half full with charcoal today. We're gonna give our cast iron pan a couple minutes to heat up. All right, our cast iron pan is nice and hot. I just wanna go ahead and give a light toast to the bun for our steak sandwich. I'm gonna press this down, get a little bit of contact there. Remember, when you're working with cast iron, good gloves. All right, that's looking good too. Now we're gonna add some butter and saute up our garlic mushrooms. Remember, if your pan gets too hot, slide it away from the coals. Get our mushrooms in here. It's not very many. I don't know, maybe 8 or 10. Sliced mushrooms. We're gonna have about a teaspoon of minced garlic. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our mushrooms out of here and get ready for our steak. All right, we're gonna move our cast iron pan back directly over the coals to get it hot again for searing our steak. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our ribeye steak with that Malabar steak seasoning in the cast iron pan. This isn't a super thick ribeye, so it's not gonna take long to cook actually. Let's check our, oh, it's looking good. Give it just another 20 seconds on that side. All right, let's go ahead and turn our ribeye. All right, we're gonna slide the cast iron off the direct heat now for a moment. Just wanna do a quick temperature check. We're at 100 degrees, we have about 25 degrees to go. So we're just gonna let this sit indirect in the cast iron pan and continue to cook. I'm gonna check it about every minute. 125. All right, the steak is coming off. It's going inside, it's gonna rest for maybe 5 minutes, and then we're gonna start assembling our steak and shroom ribeye sandwich. All right, it is time to assemble our steak and shroom ribeye sandwich. First, I have a little bit of arugula. I wanna hit it with some red wine vinegar, some olive oil, because this is gonna sort of dress the bottom of our sandwich. So just maybe a teaspoon of olive oil, and you know, maybe about the same of red wine vinegar, not much. I'm gonna mix this up. So arugula gives you that nice sort of peppery bite. All right, let's get to making this sandwich. All right, so we have our ribeye here. It's been resting 5 or 10 minutes. I'm just going to slice this now, and I'm gonna make thin slices because that's how we're gonna make our sandwich, with those slices. So I'm just gonna start like this, at an angle. Oh, came out nice. Got that nice rare, medium rare in the very center of this steak. Get our end piece here. All right, our steak is all prepped. Let's build this steak and shroom sandwich. All right, we have our toasted bottom bun here. First, I'm gonna put the arugula on here. Nice little dressed up arugula. you don't like arugula, you could use lettuce or something like that. I just like that, like I said, that peppery bite that arugula gives you. Now we're going to start laying our steak pieces on here. Go ahead, just fill in the spaces here. Pile it in. Now for our garlic mushrooms. Now when you're frying up mushrooms in garlic or minced garlic like I was in cast iron pan, you got to be careful. The garlic was just on the edge of burning, so you really have to watch that. Those cast iron pans, they get hot. That's the purpose of them. So if you're doing garlic in them, watch it. All right, there we go. We have our top bun, the steak and shroom ribeye sandwich. Looking good and smelling great. It's time to taste. Okay, I cut our steak and shroom ribeye sandwich in half just so I have a little bit more manageable bite here. The doneness on the ribeye is right where I wanted it, sort of that rare, medium rare. I love that if you're making a steak sandwich or something like that. So let's just dive in. I know it's a steak sandwich, but those garlic mushrooms, they hit you right away. And they just go so well with steak. That's why you see things like steak and mushrooms on menus so often. There's something about the earthiness of mushrooms that go perfect with beef, especially good beef that's well cooked like this. Also, that arugula, the bite of that goes really, really well with that Malabar steak seasoning on this ribeye. It's got such great herbs and spices in that it really ties in with the arugula, which itself is a very spicy green. Top it off with a well-toasted roll, and you've got a great lunch. And personally, I think it's really hard to beat a steak that is seared in cast iron. Just something about that crust, something about that instant development of that flavor on the outside. I think it just sets it apart every time. So maybe you've got a small piece of steak you're not sure what to do with, turn it into a steak sandwich. Give it a good seasoning, get a good roll, some good toppings like mushrooms, maybe some arugula. That combination will give you a terrific lunch, dinner, snack, whatever you want to call it. It's just really good. Man, that has a lot of flavor.